What is up, Soul Fam? It's Sundial from Substance Over Style. Welcome to a new video. Okay, I'm not going to do the incense today because it is so hot here in London. It's literally scorchio. It's like 27 degrees and I'm like sweating. Literally, I went out like this. I went out in this and then like white, big, flowy yoga pants because I'm going to like a wellness event later. So I thought I might as well just get dressed. And everybody's just like staring at me like, do you think you're on the beach or something like that? But I mean, it's hot. I'm not going to wear jeans. So yeah. Got an iced coffee. Please don't judge me for the plastic cup. I normally never ever buy coffees. Well, not never. I'm just not in the habit of buying coffees from like coffee shops. I usually just, I've got so good at making my own adaptogenic coffee that coffee shop coffees just don't really compare. But you know, I'm like, I wanted an iced coffee and I didn't really have time to kind of do my own. So but yes, shout out to Simha Life, who've been sending me amazing supplements that I add to my coffee to make an adaptogenic coffee. They do a really nice shilajit, which has got nano gold particles, which is amazing for like Schumann spikes and like all these solar flares and everything that can kind of like throw your system off and kind of make you feel a little bit frazzled. I can't remember exactly how he explained it very scientifically about exactly what it does. I'll see if I can maybe put a screenshot of what he said right here, so you can see how it supports you. And then he also sent me ashwagandha, so I just, you know, break open a capsule of ashwagandha and add that to my coffee, and it really helps like balance my mood, keep my energy levels up. It's just, it's a game changer. And then I also add just some like chai spices for like masala chai that I get from my local Indian shop, and it just makes the coffee taste so good. It's basically like a masala chai flavored coffee with shilajit and ashwagandha. It's delicious. And you know, for those of you who've had shilajit, you know that it can taste a little bit like a barn, like a horse has pissed in a barn. So you know, whatever you can do to kind of make it taste, you know, the shilajit kind of gives it that like deep earthy kind of taste to the coffee, and then all the other flavor profiles kind of make it more like spicy and rounded, and it's pretty good, I would have to say. But today I've just got an iced latte. But I wanted to talk today about, you know, the whole idea that you have everything that you need within you and you don't need anything from the outside, and why this is a very dangerous polarized distortion to believe this, okay? A lot of people will say this in the New Age community or in the truth community or in the spiritual seeker community, and yes, on one level it is true and it can be true, and I'll explain how it's true, but I'll also explain why it's dangerous and why it's problematic. And if you're on a journey of seeking truth, the most important thing is that you're always balanced, okay? And you're always, this is the Hyros Gamos, okay? Marrying the masculine and the feminine. The feminine is trusting your intuition and your body and what is within you, and then the masculine is kind of seeking knowledge externally for clarification. So it's basically based on a comment that I received the other day. It was on my video Unmasking the Sociopath. What was the name of the video? I can't remember exactly. The thumbnail says Unmasking the Sociopath, but I think the video was like, I'll link it anyway. It was where I was talking about Anna Delvey, the Tinder swindler, and Bentino Massaro. And usually I don't, like sometimes if somebody leaves me a nasty comment, I will sometimes reply to it, only if I can make it like a teachable moment, not for that person necessarily, because if somebody's coming at me with like rudeness, I'm not obliged to teach them, and I don't really care about teaching them. They can find somebody else to teach them. But for others who, like, you know, other people who come across the content, so I'll use it to, like, you know, show why what they're saying is distorted and untrue. But with this person, I could just sense so many distortions and inversions that I just felt like it would turn into a really nasty interaction. It was all, the comment was already quite nasty, and I just didn't want it to drain my energy. But I did have some insights that kind of came through that I discussed with a few friends recently, and then I thought I'd make a video about it because loads of stuff started coming through. So I can't see the full comment because I hid the user from the channel, and I haven't found a way for YouTube to show me the entire comment, but I've got like most of it here on my notifications. Iris Sharan commented, it is insane to believe in someone who speaks evil of others, i.e. me, of the work of others, and of course in the end mentions and tries to sell her own course as the salvation of the, and then that's where it ends, but something like the salvation of the whatever, this the problem, or and then they said at the end, you don't need a course, you know, to save you. Everything that you need is already within you, which is some false light bullshit, and we're going to explain why. Okay, firstly, I wasn't speaking evil of anyone. Probably the person I criticized the most was the Tinder swindler, and if anybody, and the work of others, like if you support the work of Tinder swindler, then you're a moron and an idiot. Like, I'm sorry to say, but like that was not, oh God, sorry, it's out of focus. Yeah, that was not work that he was doing. He was running a Ponzi scheme where he was manipulating women and scamming women to pay for his luxury lifestyle so that he could attract more women to, you know, seduce and pay for his luxury lifestyle. If you haven't seen that show on Netflix, go and watch it. So if that's what they're trying to say, that you know, I'm insane for criticizing the work of others and calling them evil, then that, I'm sorry, but that's just ridiculous. Anna Delvey, I spoke about in a much more nuanced way, because on one level, yes, she did some really bad things, like scamming people to pay like ridiculously like high bills at like the Mamounia, for example. If you haven't watched Becoming Anna on Netflix, watch that so that you understand the context of what I'm talking about. But she basically pretended to be a German heiress who came from ridiculous amounts of money to try and lure investors to invest in this project that she was doing. And along the way, she ended up scamming people who didn't have a lot of money into paying for like, you know, 65,000, you know, dollar bill for like a hotel stay, for like a 1 week hotel stay and things like that. And yeah, so, but I spoke about her in a much more nuanced way, because I talked about, you know, the entire system and the feudalistic hierarchy and how things work. And on one level, you can kind of respect her for having the balls to do what she did, but also it's very unethical. So I wasn't saying she's evil, but some of the things that she did were really fucked up. And then Bentino Massaro, who I spoke about because of some of the accusations of sexual misconduct that had come out about him. If you watched the entire video, you'll know that I never said Bentino is evil or anything like that. Again, I spoke about Bentino Massaro in a very nuanced way, and I said that there's a dance, okay? So if people were victimized by him, I did point to one of the people who said that she was victimized by him because she didn't have healthy boundaries, and nobody else can know what your boundaries are if you don't know what your boundaries are. So I spoke about him in a very nuanced way. I said that cult leaders, or a lot of the issue with cult leaders is not even necessarily the leaders, it's usually the people around them that become like their core group of followers that then kind of create this kind of dogmatic way of conducting themselves and, you know, stifle dissent. So to say that I'm like speaking evil of the work of others is like not, I don't think is true. I mean, maybe I should go back and watch that video and see if I actually did say that he was evil, but I don't think that I did. I think he's very problematic, and I said that, you know, I think I did indirectly call him a fraud, because I said that he was teaching things without embodying them first, which can be dangerous, and I explained why it was dangerous. But yeah, it's like, I'm not telling people to believe in me. Like, you don't have to believe in me. You can watch my videos just for your own entertainment, and then you decide what's true. I'm not telling anyone to believe in me. And okay, saying that I try to sell my own course at the end, try to sell my own course. I'm not trying to sell the course. Like, I am selling the course. Like, the course is doing really well, and I've had amazing feedback from people saying that it's changed their lives, okay? Because it's changed my life. And this is where I'm going to speak on this whole everything that you need is already inside you. I did not channel that course, okay? Now, that course, the Kriya Yoga system was channeled by Maha Avatar Babaji. I don't know about the full methods and techniques that he used to channel that course, whether he also had gurus and helpers or guides who helped him channel that course, okay? So on one level, maybe what she's saying could be true if you've reached the level where you're like almost enlightened, or like an ascended master, where you can literally achieve such states of like inner gnosis that you can channel an entire ascension technology like Himalayan Kriya Yoga. But for me, I had to be initiated into that system, okay? I have a mentor, guru, who taught me that system. Now, guru literally just means teacher, okay? My guru is not like Samtem Sanchez. For those of you who want to look her up and they want to study the system themselves and they want to be initiated into the system, I've had clients that have just gone directly to her to be initiated and do the teacher training for themselves. And have had incredible shifts in their lives from doing that training. I don't put my guru on a pedestal. I don't put Samtem, well, she was Pee-wee when I studied with her. She went by the name Pee-wee. I don't put her on a pedestal. I don't agree with everything that she said. There were actual areas in which we disagreed on a lot of things. You should never put a guru on a pedestal or believe in them completely. And trust everything that they say. That's dangerous, okay? And I always tell my clients that I work with not to believe everything that they say. When I open up timelines for them and say, this is what I'm seeing in your future, but you have to understand that timelines aren't fixed. This is not what's going to happen. It's what can happen if you choose to manifest it. It's a potential timeline if you choose to stay on this path. But don't like go, oh, this is definitely going to happen. If you change your mind and you want to manifest a different future for yourself, you totally can. You totally can. And my perspective also, when I work with clients to try and destroy some of their limiting beliefs, I'm not doing that because I'm saying that what they believe is not true. I'm just saying it's not necessarily true. It can be true if they want it to be true, and then they can manifest that reality for themselves. But usually they don't want it to be true because it's a lot of stuff like, I'm a loser because I'm not further ahead in life, or girls don't like me because I don't have enough money, or men don't choose me because I'm not experienced enough. All of that stuff is just subjective and can be true or cannot be true. And if you just go within, okay, I believed this for a long time, this thing that everything you need is already within you and you don't need to like externalize your power or your authority to an external teacher, okay? And that was because I needed to learn how to trust myself. And there may be a period where you need to do this, okay? When I first went to, there was a time when I went to Bali a couple of years ago. I was healing from a very difficult relationship and I needed to clean up some of my sexual distortions. I could not allow myself to be guided by anybody else, okay? I did not feel safe to work with a coach or anybody. I had a therapist, but honestly, I actually feel like the therapist, she helped me in some ways, but she also caused hindrances in other ways. So, you know, yes, you do, sometimes working with other people can be problematic if you're giving too much of your power away because you don't have enough of your own sovereignty. You do have to learn to trust what is within you, 100%, okay? It's true up to a point. But then you can only go so far with it, okay? Especially if you think that like you're going to be able to access everything within you, like you have to. The thing is, like, yes, okay, the external world is a reflection of what's going on within us, okay? So if you understand everything that's what's going on within you, you can actually. What did the Oracle at Delphi say? She said, "Know thyself, and you will know the universe and the gods." And that's true because we're holographic. The story within us is a reflection of everything that's ever happened. So on one level, what this person's saying is true. But on another level, it's going to take you so long to get to know yourself without some kind of guidance into how to do that. Because if you don't know how to meditate, or if you don't know how to clean up your distortions and your inversions, then you're going to stay looping in your old stories for years and years and years and years and years. And that's what happened with me. And how do I say this? The outside world provides a very important mirror reflection of what's going on within you, okay? And when you learn how to trust what's going on with your body, not saying that everything that's going on within your body is the 100% truth, okay? When I say that your body will not lie to you, I don't mean that your intuition is always telling you what's true, okay? Your intuition is basically, can be governed by perceptual filters of, you know, overlays caused by trauma that are causing you to believe certain things. Like, for example, if I meet a guy and I have an intuition that he is a motherfucker, or that he's like a loser, or that he's going to do XYZ, that he's going to like try and dominate me or something in some type of way, it's because I still have that story going, that assumption about him, and at some point that is going to manifest. Now, does that mean that my intuition was incorrect? No, it means that my intuition was correct, because that's the timeline that I'm on. Once you basically release that story and say, okay, it was true about that person at that time, but it doesn't have to be true about everyone all the time, and you clear that distortion from your field. Like if you have a story that, you know, men always cheat, then you're going to continue to experience that, and you're going to continue to manifest that, and you're going to continue to choose people who are going to do that to you. Once you clear that story that men always cheat, and you choose to believe a new story, you'll no longer tolerate that. You'll no longer choose people that give you that feeling, or you'll actually not. It's like when you heal that wound, there's no longer the vibrational resonance where you're gonna those people are even gonna come into your experience. Like, I never meet people who are like that anymore. But when I had that story, that was what I kept attracting. Okay, so this is what I'm saying about intuition. Your intuition is actually your assumption, which ends up manifesting because you're that powerful that your beliefs manifest into reality. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you can change, you know, various laws of nature that are completely fixed and immutable, like gravity or like mathematics, but things that are mutable, your assumption has the power to bend reality in that way. So basically, without getting too convoluted, I would never have been able to level up as quickly as I have and drop all my bullshit stories around relating to the masculine, around stepping into my power, about being able to guide and heal others, if I hadn't found the two mentors that I now have, one of which is PB Sanchez, who initiated me into the Kriya Yoga system, and the other is Emily Harris, who initiated me into quantum field work and training under her Oracles of Sophia logos. Okay, I would like, there's no way that if I just meditated and meditated and meditated, I would have been able to learn the things that I've learned from Emily, or channel the Himalayan Kriya Yoga system. I mean, it just would never have happened. And both of these ascension technologies that I've learned from these two teachers have changed my life in extraordinary ways. And many of you can see the change in my embodiment from even just a year ago with what I was teaching on my channel and what I'm now doing professionally. Okay, I'm now transitioning out of modeling and doing something that my soul has yearned for like 10 years, something that I've always wanted to do but never knew how to navigate it or how to do it, or just so many fears and stories I had about showing up as a space holder and as a guide and as, you know, yeah, a space holder for people to heal themselves. Okay, I wouldn't have been able to do it because I would have had this thing that I had to be enlightened, or I had to have no distortions whatsoever, no wounds whatsoever. But that's not true at all. Okay, like I've said before, okay, it's okay to be a wounded healer. Being wounded is what makes you a healer. So as somebody that, if you're in a place where you're looking for somebody to guide you out of your distortion so that you can step into your power, learning to trust yourself and your body and your intuition, i.e. your assumption, is important, because that is going to tell you what's good for you in that moment. And it doesn't even fucking matter whether your assumption is manifesting certain outcomes for yourself. Okay, you still have to trust it, because if you don't want to experience those outcomes, you have to be able to say, no, I think that that person's going to hurt me, I think that that person's going to mess me around, I don't need to fucking try and change the story about them, I don't need to do ho'oponopono with them and try and see that, like, yes, it's true that if you speak to somebody and you talk to somebody as if they are their higher self, you will get a better reflection of them. And it works. I've done this. Okay, I've received like the highest reflections of people, like family members, people that I've been in relationships with, any type of relationship, friendships, intimate partner relationships, clients, yes, I do this with clients as well, but also there's, you know, sometimes you got to also trust where it's going to be too much work. And you don't want to use the energy all the time to try and speak to the person's higher self, because it's too difficult sometimes, and you can see that that person's got too many stories, too many overlays, too much trauma. It's going to take you so many jumps to try and get this person to like show up as a person that's like going to serve your highest good, you know. So that for that reason, I don't always engage with people online, you know, who are nasty like that person. Or I don't always work with certain clients. If a client comes to me and I don't like their energy, or I feel like they're entitled, or I feel like they're not ready for the work, like they're a little bit hesitant, I just pull back. Like I don't work with them, or I just tell them up front, I actually don't think that we're a fit for this work. Okay, it's not, don't if you've received that from me, or if you felt that from me, don't take it personally and think that it means that I don't like you. Sometimes it's because I don't like the person, and because I have to be able to like the person to be able to give them a good reading. But most of the time it's just because I can sense some hesitancy on their part, and I can sense that they're not ready. So I don't want to, like, this work is so life-changing. You'll drop out so many distortions that your life will start changing very fast, and not everybody's ready for that. Not everybody can physically do it, like, because you are going to have to make some changes in your life, and you've got to be ready for it. You've got to want it. You've got to really, really want it. So if you're in a place right now where you think everything is already within you, then trust that and honor that, okay? Because for some people, you do have to get clear on what's already within you and get to know your body and your inner story and your boundaries, and because so many people are so disembodied just in the world, but especially as they start to go through an awakening journey, there is a period where you start to become a bit of a space cadet and not fully in the body. And when you're not fully in the body, then you can sometimes end up externalizing your power and giving too much of your power away to people, okay? There have been times where I've, you know, come across a teacher and become extremely magnetized towards them because they held the opposite polarity of what I was embodying. And even though they helped bring me back into balance, but you know, for those of you who studied Hermetic philosophy, the pendulum will always swing in an equal and opposite direction. So for me, even though I came back into the center, I then picked up so many distortions from them that I had to then come back into balance. So there was a teacher that I found, I think it was like 2-3 years ago, a polarity teacher. I'm not going to mention her name because I sent her stuff to a couple of friends, and I think it actually caused more issues for them because she wasn't embodying the opposite polarity of what that friend of mine was embodying, and it actually just made some of her patterns worse. For me, she was embodying the opposite polarity, so she helped me in a lot of ways, but then I started, you know, taking on some of her toxic viewpoints, particularly when it comes to men, like toxic attitudes towards men, towards women, towards relationships, towards love, and it basically installed some really negative beliefs within me. And it was a godsend finding Emily, because Emily's source alignment is so centralized. I feel like and again, I don't agree with everything that Emily says, okay? Y'all know this, okay? I don't agree with her views on veganism for a start. That's probably the main thing. But I don't agree with her on a lot of things, and she knows that, and she teaches, don't put any teacher or any mentor or any healer on a pedestal. She teaches us to trust our body and all of that stuff. So, you know, I trust her for that reason, because she's taught me how to trust myself. I mean, I already was learning how to trust myself before I even found her, because I was on this journey of like feminine embodiment. So yes, get to a point where you start to learn what is within you and how to trust what is within you and how to trust your intuition and your boundaries and your yes and your no. It will change your life in so many ways, especially as a woman. It will change. The first thing that it changes is your intimate partner relationships, your relationships with men. It improves it so much, okay? It improves your sex life in ways that I cannot even describe right now, because it's outside. I don't want to violate community standards, but it will really, really improve your sex life. But it also improves your relationships with like your boss, your colleagues, you know, your kids, your parents, like anybody who's trying to encroach on your boundaries. You just know how to stand in your sovereignty. And definitely with everything that happened over the last 2 years, I mean, I held out. Like, there was no way that I was going to do what they were trying to pressure all of us to do. No fucking way. Absolutely no way, not a chance in hell, because I was so embodied that I was just like, no, that's a fuck no. That's an absolute fuck no. And yes, okay, I had to make some sacrifices, but to me they didn't feel like sacrifices. It would have felt like a sacrifice to do the thing, it would have felt like a massive compromise, and just, you know, and you know, this is again what Emily teaches us, and what I've noticed as well, that when you don't listen to your body and your intuition and what is within you, you start manifesting lower timelines. So yes, don't give your power away to external authority. Don't give your power away to a coach or a guru. Learn to trust yourself. Once you've gone through that process and you're at a point where you feel like you can trust yourself and you can trust what's true for you, then go and work with a coach or a healer, because, you know, we're human, right? Okay, so we're not like these enlightened masters, and the things that we say are based on our own perceptions, our experience, what we've learned, and what we believe to be true, what we trust to be true. You know, we're not trying to mislead you, but I've heard too many horror stories of people who, you know, we're working with some coach or some guide or, you know, whatever, and something that the coach said or something that the healer said, they attached too much meaning to it and they made it their truth. And I've done this as well, okay? And then that ended up manifesting a lower timeline for themselves, because they didn't trust their own intuition, they didn't trust their own body, they didn't trust what was true for them enough, so they manifested that outcome, okay? And that's because that's trying to teach you that you do have to trust yourself. So it's both, okay? It's a hierogamic process, and Mark Passio teaches this in the Trivium, okay? For those of you who are seeking truth and want to find what is the ultimate truth, because the truth will heal you and will set you free, study Mark Passio's Trivium. Well, it's not his Trivium, it's esoteric ancient knowledge. He teaches it really well, okay? It's knowledge, rhetoric, and wisdom. No, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, okay? Or intuition, you could call it. So you're seeking knowledge from the outside, you run it through the perceptual filter of your body and your intuition and what feels true for you, and then you achieve the inner gnosis. This is what I talked about in my video Decoding the Matrix, or I'll link it, where I basically talked about the hierogamic process of seeking truth, where you get the key, which is the knowledge, masculine, right, lingam, and you put it in the keyhole, which is the feminine. It's the doorway of perception, okay, inner gnosis, and then you unlock, and then you get that kundalini. And I'm not saying that always happens, but that is what awakening is. It's a marriage of the two. And it's the same as down here, it's the marriage of your brain hemispheres. That's Hyros Gamos, okay? You have to have both. Seek knowledge from outside and then understand it, achieve inner gnosis, and then that what comes through is wisdom, which is the marriage of the two. Okay, so I'm going to leave it on that note, because that's all I want to talk about today. Again, if you want to if you want to book a session with me, DM me on Instagram. I'm available for sessions for like the next couple of weeks. I mean, I'm always available for sessions, but in a few weeks I'll be moving to another country, so there might be like a week or two where things are a little bit chaotic and I won't have time to take on too many sessions. So kind of get those in now if you're wanting to do them soon. And then the course is evergreen self-study. You know, it's ascension technology that will clear out your inner polarities and align you with your truth, okay? It clears out the distortions, victim, anger, like whatever those, you know, masculine wounding, feminine wounding, betrayal wounds, abandonment wounds, and then we do some activations as well. It's a lot of the stuff that I learned from my guru Piri Sanchez through the Himalayan Kriya Yoga system, but I've also included activations that I learned from Emily through the Oracle course, so that makes it a unique offering that comes only through me, okay? Because some people have asked me, should I do your course or should I just go straight to Piri and learn from Piri? It's different, okay? You can learn from Piri or Samten if you want to, and you know, her transmission is her transmission, and yes, she's more advanced with Kriya Yoga than I am, much more. But she doesn't have the quantum field work training that I have, so you know, that's your choice. It's also a bigger investment working with her in terms of financial investment. And with my course, you have it like forever, like it's evergreen, so you can just come back to it again and again and again whenever you need to kind of like clear those distortions, and it will help you achieve deeper states. You know, it's designed to help you go deeper when you meditate. So, you know, you'll start to experience crazy shit, like, you know, sometimes I meditate and I'm transported to, like, you know, I bilocate into like different bodies, different versions of me. So, you know, it sounds nuts, but this is a very real thing that we can do. So yeah, consider joining that course if that's something that you want to do. Link is in the description box below. I've been getting so many good testimonials about that course, and I haven't had time to add them to the sales page, but I've been collecting them and I will add them to the sales page very soon. But if you want to see those testimonials, then by all means just DM me on Instagram and I can send them to you. But yes, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Love you all. Bye.